Hello guys, welcome back to another Airsoft video. Today we are back at Warminster Airsoft and it is the summer of 2020. For today's game I'm going to be on the red team, and for my weapon I'm going to be using my trusty 16-year-old G3 SG1. So for the first game today it's going to be attack and defend. The red team will be starting by the Stargate and the blue team will be starting by the abandoned fort. My plan is to move down to the south and to attack one of the two bridges that we have to capture to cross. The blue team only have one life whilst defending, and if they are killed have to return to the abandoned fort, and then they shall defend that for the remainder of the game.
Stand by! 3, 2, 1!
After moving off from the Stargate, it's not long before we come under enemy fire.
You see him
No, I can't.
So, there's a guy.
Hit! Yeah, it's seen.
After about 15 to 20 minutes, I then hear that the south bridge has fallen. My plan now is to move around the back of the abandoned fort and engage from the rear.
Sorry. Alright. Spread out, don't bunch up. Spread!
But they can respawn in it, so we're just going to keep our heads down for that 60-second period.
It's at this stage when I find out that I've outstayed my welcome. The enemy realise I'm there and they've sent a sniper to deal with me.
Hit! Fuck knows where I got shot from there.
After a quick respawn, I'm back into the action again and move up slightly left to where I was to engage from a different angle. The next game is exactly the same, but the teams are now reversed. So the Blues will be starting from the Stargate and the Reds will be starting from the fort. I myself am going to move to the northern bridge and I'm going to allow the enemy to go past so I can engage them from the rear. This way I can make use of my ghillie suit and hopefully hide in the thick, dense brush. It's at this stage that I realise that there is an enemy player that is directly on the other side of the bush to me, so I move slow in order to bring my gun up not to be seen.
Not quite.
It's at this stage that I realise that the northern bridge has now fallen. I start to look in that direction and I see enemy players moving around. They haven't yet seen me, so I'm going to stay low until they pass me. By now the enemy has come in close enough for me to engage, but still I'm going to hold my fire and wait for the opportune moment. Now that the enemy realise that there's a player still behind them, they close in. My ghillie suit is quite effective and they don't see me, and I engage at point blank. Now unfortunately the whistle was blown and the game come to a close, but I had two enemy players within my sight that I was lining up for an ambush.
Well, you boys were lucky.
Coming for you.
So after a spot of lunch it was time for the next game. Now this was going to be played in the northern part of the area, so the Reds are going to start from the east moving west, and then the Blues are sporadically dotted about inside the buildings. Their objective is to defend the buildings as long as possible so that they can deny us from moving up to the bridges and blowing all three bridges. During this game I'm going to be playing a lot more aggressively and moving up and working with the rest of the team to take the buildings.
Come on. Right side of that building, right side of the building.
Hit!
Although I'm hit, it doesn't take me a long time to get back into the game as we have a flag respawn which is moving along with us.
Go, cross. Guys, you need to move up with it. Come on, Jake. Yeah, move up with it. Got that respawn now. Oh, have we? Yeah. I'll leave that gun there. Wait. Yeah, you good.
As this is a pretty fast-paced game, you get stragglers from the enemy team that's all around in different buildings and bushes, and sometimes you come up against them at point blank.
Alright, what's the crack over there? Yeah. Yeah, people shooting. Right.
Our team has progressed pretty far now towards the river. There's only a couple of buildings left and the bridges are now in sight. Time for the final push.
I got hit by that building. There's quite a few people over there.
Okay.
I think we need to start some suicide bombing.
Yeah, seen.
It's at this stage that I decide to do a full frontal assault by moving up in front of my team to try and establish a new base of fire. Unfortunately, this is the point where I stacked it in hard.
He's gone.
From where I tripped into the tree, unfortunately it knocked my scope off, so as a result I decided to go back to the safe zone during the game to try and repair my gun.
How the fuck did that come off?
During my time repairing the gun, the whistle was blown, which meant the end of that game. As we moved into the next game, it would be exactly the same, but once again roles reversed. The idea this time is I was going to try and outflank and get round the back of the enemy again. Unfortunately, my friend that I was lending an AEG to, his battery went dead, so I gave him the one out of my G3 and I took out my bolt action S&T Springfield 1903. Due to the changeover from the G3 to the S&T 1903, I didn't have time to change across the scope camera, so unfortunately all I have is a bit of GoPro footage for the rest of this game. In all my enthusiasm to try and outflank the enemy, I accidentally got too close to be able to engage with the sniper rifle due to sight rules, so I had to draw my 1911 gas blowback pistol. Now this guy I wasn't too sure whether to engage or not due to he was moving away from me, potentially back to the safe zone. But the next guy, he's not going to be so lucky. Now unfortunately it's at this stage when my GoPro batteries finally gave in, so I'm going to have to sign off on this one, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed today's gameplay and look forward to the next one.